Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is the Fantasy Football Podcast. It's me, Joe Pisapia, and it's time to look ahead to the waiver wire for Week 3. There may have been, one or two big injuries this week, but we'll somehow get by, as we always do. And to help us get the right names, of course, my best friends, Patty Cakes, Pat Fitzmaurice, and DBro, Derek Brown, the King of Bros, are here. It's Monday. We've got 2 games left to play, so hopefully everybody stays healthy from those. But certainly there's some players to peel over the waiver wire, and it was some fun football out there in Week 2. Certainly some explosive performances, a lot to digest, a lot to take in. But of course, before we get to all of that, I want to give away some free stuff. And the winner of the perpetual fantasy football trophy giveaway from Trophy Smack is Joshua Hopwood. Joshua, congratulations. Get in touch with our customer support agents at mailbag@fantasypros.com with your mailing address, screenshot of your YouTube account. And of course, once we confirm that, we will get that prize shipped out to you. Again, Joshua Hopwood, you're the big winner, which means when one giveaway goes away, another takes its place. Next giveaway up, if you want a chance to win one of the most unique pieces of NFL fan gear out there, the large NFLPA wall smack, courtesy of our good friends at Trophy Smack, is available, the #1 destination for epic fantasy football hardware. This is your shot. Again, the oversized, officially licensed NFLPA wall smacks are bold statement pieces. And it's the perfect thing for your fan cave, for your office. You can put it in your living room, you can put it in your bathroom, wherever the hell you want to stick that bad boy on a wall. I'd say go do it. And again, it's from our good friends over at Trophy Smack. So how do you win? You subscribe to the Fantasy Bros YouTube channel, you drop your comments below, you like this video, and of course, ring the bell till it goes ding so you never miss a piece of content on the channel. And boys, it's time to kick off waiver wire, and let's talk about our waiver wire ad of the week. And it's a quarterback, mostly because we know everybody out there is looking for a QB who had Joe Burrow, who's going to be out for months and months. So let's talk about Daniel Jones. That's right, this year's Sam Darnold, question mark, or period. I don't know what punctuation you want to put on the end of that sentence, but he is rostered in 35% of leagues. Yesterday, against a very tough opponent, not the Miami Dolphins, 316, 23 of 34. He threw for a touchdown. He didn't have as many rushing yards as he did the week before. He had 26, but we all know Daniel Jones can bring that rushing equity as well. So let's talk about it, because I think the big story of the week is, of course, the Joe Burrow injury. DBro, I'm going to start with you on this one, too. Daniel Jones is out there. We could talk about Browning as well in those deeper leagues, also because I think that's important to speak of. But let's talk about Daniel Jones and what you saw out of him yesterday with a much tougher opponent. Again, 2 games at home, but also perhaps an evolution of Daniel Jones to at least a decent fantasy quarterback you can rely on. Again, question mark.
I mean, come on, man. Like, I know we got 2 games of sample here, but what backs us off of that? He does look like this year's Sam Darnold. He does look really good. I mean, against what we think is an incredibly talented Broncos defense. I mean, you named it all, Joe. Like, Daniel Jones, again, for everybody at home, QB3 in fantasy scoring for the week. In week 1, QB7 as it stands of right now, walking into Monday night. He is the QB3 in fantasy points per game. You're getting rushing equity. The passing is there. What's going to slow him down, guys? And I mean, looking at the upcoming schedule, he gets Tennessee, the Rams, and Vegas. Are we really worried about any of those matchups outside of the Rams pass rush, which Daniel Jones said, okay, hold my beer against Denver? So, yeah, I mean, he's going to be a QB1, or at least should be a QB1 in ranks over the next few weeks. And the year 2025, yes, I just said that Daniel Jones should be a QB1 in fantasy rankings. But guys, like, pick up of the week, absolutely, with the injuries to the position. Yeah. And I mean, what are we talking about spend? I mean, 15% plus, right? I mean, if you got quarterback issues,
well, if you got
is that too much?
Well, look,
yes.
Jaden Daniels picked up an injury too.
Okay.
Fitzy's got some feelings. Do the Colts and Daniel Jones have a thing going on, Fitzy, here, or is this just a mirage of a couple good weeks?
You'll have to forgive my skepticism about the Daniel Jones renaissance. Like, not that I'm totally unwilling to buy into the redemption of a beaten down quarterback. I mean, Joe, you mentioned Sam Darnold. He was redeemed in Minnesota last year. Kevin O'Connell helped get Darnold's career back on the rails. Maybe Shane Steichen can do the same thing for Daniel Jones. But in Daniel Jones' best season, 2022, he finished QB9 in fantasy points per game among quarterbacks who made multiple starts. He only threw 15 touchdown passes in 16 starts that year and averaged 200 passing yards per game, like just very average to mediocre passing numbers. But he ran for 708 yards and 7 touchdowns. And I guess that's what we're chasing here with Daniel Jones. Like, rushing value rushing value is the main course rather than a side. It's like eating a loaded baked potato for dinner, basically. And
well, if you load it with chili and stuff, there's protein.
It's a pretty good dinner.
It could be good.
I feel pretty good.
And like even this year, Jones so far 2 games, 28 rushing yards, but he has 3 TD runs. So that's where a lot of the value is being derived from.
Right.
Look, I'm just finding it hard to get excited about a quarterback who in 72 career starts, 72 career games, I think 71 starts, has 47 interceptions and 50 fumbles, who has averaged 6.6 yards per attempt for his career and is currently sitting at 9.3 on the young season. And oh, by the way, like the Colts offensive line, they've allowed a sub 10% pressure rate so far, which is amazing. And you know, they did it. Miami blitzed at the highest rate in week 1 and still had the 3rd lowest pressure rate. Like, not surprised that Miami was pitiful at getting pressure on the quarterback. But like the Broncos, best pass rush in the league last season, and they were not getting home against Daniel Jones in week 2. I just wonder if that normalizes a bit. I mean, even if this is a really good Colts offensive line, Joe, I feel like this is a trap, and I don't want to fall for the banana in the tailpipe.
Answer me this. Do you think that Shane Steichen is a better offensive mind than Brian Daboll?
I do.
Okay, I do too. So I think that's a little bit, so 3 for 3 there. I think that might be a little bit of the room for optimism. I think all of your skepticism is valid. I just want to say, I don't want to publicly validate all of Fitzy's skepticism. But at the same time, I think if we wait too long, you could also miss out on something. But I want to talk about deeper too, because Joe Burrow's injury, obviously the big headline of the week, right? I mean, there's a lot of game stuff to talk about, but Joe Burrow's injury makes a seismic impact, and in Superflex leagues especially. And I dialed back here. Jake Seeley and I talked about this on the short form waiver wire. You can go check it out on the YouTube channel as well. I went back to when he took over for Joe Burrow a couple years ago, right? So back to 2023, and I was looking at the game log for him, right? And he finished against the Ravens in Baltimore and at home against the Steelers as QB 23, then 18. Then against Jacksonville, QB 4 on the road, Indianapolis QB 4, Minnesota QB 8. Then he was QB 21 again against Pittsburgh, tough defense a couple years ago for sure. Then QB 8 and QB 9. Fitzy, would we be underselling the value of Jake Browning for Superflex leagues if we didn't say you should be hyper aggressive if you lost Joe Burrow, because he's got all the weapons there. He's got T. Higgins, he's got Jamar Chase, he knows the system, he's got Chase Brown, the same coach, same verbiage, same everything. Yeah, the offensive line's a disaster, just ask Joe Burrow. But at the same time, Jake Browning might be a better solution than people realize. Do you think that's fact or fiction?
I think it's fact. And funny you should mention it, Joe. I happen to have Joe Burrow in a Superflex league, and I am going to be very aggressive in going after Jake Browning.
Yeah, me too. I just don't have any money left to get him. That's the problem. So, all right, Derek Brown. Quick thoughts on Jake Browning before we turn our attention to the running backs of the week.
I'll agree with everything y'all said. I mean, definitely underrated. He's got the ecosystem and the weapons to sit here and take advantage of the system. And to kind of backtrack on this just a little bit, both of these guys are incredibly interesting because not only the quarterback injuries, Jaden Daniels is getting an MRI of his knee. CJ Stroud has not played good. What are we going to get out of Cam Ward? Trevor Lawrence has not played good. Bo Nix has been up and down. Patrick Mahomes has nobody to throw to. He's living off of rushing equity. Jalen Hurts looks like maybe the Eagles offense is broken, ? Like, so the quarterback position is really tough right now.
You didn't even mention JJ McCarthy.
Yeah,
sure. And JJ didn't play good last night. I got to go back and watch the all 22 from that. But this is all to say, like, the QB position as a whole, there's a lot of question marks, man, outside of injuries adding to that.
Well, it just goes to show you, too. You have kids, they just suck the life out of you. Congratulations, Mr. and Mrs. McCarthy. But, look how good he played against the Bears in the fourth quarter. And then, as a kid, next thing you know, all that energy just goes away. Just lose it. All right. But seriously, congratulations. That's a beautiful thing. All right. So young, though. 22 years old. My God. All right. Let's talk about the running back ads. And let's start with the guy that probably should be rostered everywhere ready. So this is more of a public service announcement that the fact that he's still under 50% in the consensus. Mm-hmm. So, again, Brads and Chads who say, this guy's not available in any leagues. Yeah. I got you, except the fact that he's available in 50% of them. You know how I know? Because I look at the tools of Fantasy Pros. Okay? So he is available. Bhayshul Tuten should not be available in 50% of leagues because he is still 55 to be exact. He's still available in. So let's just say that out, pick him up. He's worth that ad We won't say more about that because I don't want to waste time. I want to talk about the next guy because when we're talking about handcuffs and we're talking about deeper leagues, Jake and I touched on this player too. Blake Corum, 13% roster. Now, it's not really because of some of the duty when he got it yesterday in that game. A lot of that game was kind of already in hand. But when a running back looks good doing it, I think that's always something to keep in mind. If Kyren Williams should pick up an injury at some point, and you've got Corum just sitting on your bench as a handcuff, I would say he's probably one of the top 5 handcuffs you can have right now because I think it's very clear the offense is good. Sean McVay always is going to find work for the running backs in fantasy in his offense. And Pat, I think Corum, the fact that he is so widely available, even accounting for 14-team leagues, like on Sleeper, he is 13% rostered. I think that number should be higher, especially based off what you saw visually yesterday. Do you agree? I
do agree, Joe. And maybe the reason, because like he was so low rostered, because I think there was ambiguity about who was going to be the backup to Kyren Williams, whether it would be Blake Corum or Jarquez Hunter.
It's a great point.
You know, after the Rams spent 2 fairly early draft picks on running backs to put behind Kyren Williams, but clearly it's Corum right now. So yeah, he should be rostered more widely.
All right. DBro, what are your thoughts on this Rams backfield to a Corum? I'm not saying people have to empty the tank. I'm just saying, like, look, for a couple bucks, especially if you have Kyren, it might be a good insurance policy with the fact that, you know, this is the NFL and it's a long season. They've added extra game, right? Like, we have to understand it's probably, especially in those deeper leagues, probably a good bench spot.
No, absolutely. I mean, when we're seeing high volume backs, he needs to be rostered. I mean, like, a lot of people got DJ Giddens on their bench because they're like, oh, he's the clear handcuff to JT. And so it's like, you know, these guys should have roster spots in 12-team leagues, if not deeper leagues, because if we know who the handcuff is, all we're doing, you're getting ahead of any possible injuries. And right. Like we know the war of injury attrition every single year. I mean, we're already living it with the quarterback position. Running back could be next in any week.
Well, we already lived that in week 2 because Austin Eckler is out for the year with an Achilles injury, and Chris Rodriguez, who I had to drop in a couple leagues that I had him because I had some, you know, tight end concerns, so I had to make sure that I had more guys. And of course, what happens Thursday night? Austin Eckler gets hurt, and of course, Rodriguez was not active the first 2 games. He is less than 10% rostered right now across the board, so he is another free square. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Bill's probably going to get the lion's share of it. However, it seems like, at least you would imagine, Chris Rodriguez working in a tandem because he is still a rookie. There will be some moments there where you probably want to pivot. And Rodriguez has shown you before that he's worked well in this system. So let's talk about the value of Chris Rodriguez. I say he's worth a couple bucks. What say you, Derek Brown?
Oh, he's still worth a couple bucks. And I'll throw another name from the Commanders' backfield, Jeremy McNichols. If you're hurting at the running back position, he's going to pick up the Austin Eckler role. I think he was Austin Eckler's direct handcuff. I think Bill's role maybe grows a little bit. He's probably the preferred early down guy, so I don't know if we see a ton of Rodriguez. So I actually will throw a few shekels at McNichols in leagues where I'm thin at running back because I think he is the one that's going to have automatic utility from the word go, like this week.
All right, so McNichols and Rodriguez, Pat, to you, how do you decide between the two of them?
Yeah, I mean, McNichols, I think, is rosterable in full PPR leagues. I'm not really interested in him otherwise. I just don't think he's going to get much of a rushing share. But Rodriguez is probably worth having just because we don't really know if Bill is good yet. And that's the truth. And I know everyone wants to be sort of, you know, like the silver lining with the Eckler injury that maybe Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is excellent. I mean, really nice game in week 1 against the Giants. Really quiet game in week 2 against the Packers. And maybe it was just the caliber of the opponent in week 2 that kept him under wraps. But, you know,
Bella, I love your quiet Packers flex there, Fitzy. That was very eloquent, sir.
Thank
you.
Well
done.
Maybe it's just the dominance of a team in Wisconsin called the Packers.
So maybe we do see the full JCM breakout in the weeks to come. But just in case he's not quite what he has been sold as, it's worth having Rodriguez because maybe, you know, Rodriguez is at least going to dress going forward instead of being a game day scratch. Yeah. And, you know, maybe he can work his way into the rotation, or who knows, if Bill isn't good, maybe it becomes a 50-50.
All right, let's talk about some guys to cut from the running back position too. Let's start with one of Pat Fitzmaurice's favorites, #sarcasm. Jaydon Blue. Is it time to toss him aside to the waiver wire?
Yes.
Okay. DBro, you agree?
Oh, yes, sir. Javonte workhorse season. We're a full go.
All right. After a spectacular preseason, I got to say, boy, oh boy, I really thought Miami would be smart enough to really just try to establish the run and do everything they can to run the football. Devon Achane's catching the ball all over the place, but running the football has not been the strong suit for the Miami Dolphins these first 2 games. So are we cutting Ollie Gordon? Or are we holding our breath for a Mike McDaniel firing and maybe a change in philosophy coming soon for the Dolphins? DBro, your thoughts?
Cut. I mean, I could make more of a case out of it, Joe, if I didn't see his offensive snap share drop from 25% to 12% from week 1.
I don't get it, Pat.
It's tough.
Like something that was working in the preseason that looked good, that gave you a different dynamic to the backfield than Achane gives you. This is what the bread and butter used to be of the Dolphins. They used to have a couple running backs and they would kind of run you to death and wear you out. Now they just wear themselves out by the awful defense they play and the awful quarterback play that I've seen so far from Tua in week 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think maybe the badness of the Miami offensive line wasn't fully reflected in the preseason, Joe, like against, backup defensive linemen. And that's the thing, like this line is bad and they've had some injury issues already this season. If anything happened to Achane, like I know people would rush to get Ollie Gordon off the waiver wire, but I don't know if Ollie Gordon can replicate what Achane does.
No, he can't.
I know Jalen Wright can't. I can tell you that. Jalen Wright cannot.
He cannot. And this week, Achane had like 30 rushing yards and 80 some receiving yards. Yeah. Like Ollie Gordon can't do that. That's how you have to get, that's how running back is going to get value in the Miami backfield. Ollie Gordon can't do it that way.
I don't know, man. It just, like I said, I was hoping we'd get back to a Mostert Achane kind of feel with these 2 guys, and it just has not happened here. And to be honest, wins haven't happened either. So maybe the Dolphins need to reconsider their thought process on how they run things.
Joe,
Sure, go ahead.
Can we talk about one other potential drop real quick?
Oh, please.
Is Kaleb Johnson a drop?
Oh, yeah. I think
because he's in the doghouse?
Maybe. I mean, it depends. It comes down to, like, if you're looking at him versus other guys here. It's been tough.
Look, I think it depends on the roster, right? I think if you've had a lot of injuries, you have to.
I agree
in a deep league, sure, you're holding him, but... Yeah, shallow league, I think you have to cut him. And just for the people who might have missed it, there was, the down 3 points, early fourth quarter, kickoff that Kaleb Johnson is fielding, doesn't realize he has to field the ball that lands in the landing zone. Somehow the special teams coach sent a guy out there who didn't know the rules about the new kickoff.
Why is he returning
And he
kicks?
Just basically lets it go and walks away from it.
That was what I was thinking, too. Why is he out there in the first place?
Why is he returning kicks anyway?
Why? Or maybe he was supposed to know it and just made a really boneheaded mistake.
Well, his reaction, Pat, said to me he didn't know that.
Because
when he came off, he was like, what happened? I don't understand. I didn't touch it.
But this is not, he was already buried as the number 3 behind Jaylen Warren and Kenneth Gainwell. This is not going to help him ascend the depth chart at all. So it's just hard to see when the staff is going to trust in him enough to give him meaningful carries. And I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. So in shallow leagues, bye-bye.
If you're 2-0 in a 12-team league and you got Bijan Robinson and James Cook or something and some other good RBs and he's like your 4th guy and everything's sunshine and roses, I would hold him unless there was something really on the waiver wire that could help you. And probably at this stage there might be. So another good name there to mention. Let's talk about our sponsor, and that is Hard Rock Bet. Everybody knows and loves the Hard Rock hotels and casinos, and now you can have Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook in the palm of your hand. Place your NFL bets all season long at Hard Rock Bet, and of course, it is the only legal sportsbook in Florida. You can do it in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, and Colorado. More states launching every single minute. And you can also play Hard Rock Bet's online casino in New Jersey if you're cool like me. And as we gear up for NFL season here, continuing on, sign up for Hard Rock Bet and make $5 bet. You'll get $150 in bonus bets when you win. Head over to Hard Rock Bet right now, sign up, and make your first deposit today. Looking ahead to the wide receivers, we've been talking about this guy for weeks. I've been talking about him since draft season, and nobody seems to care. It's 28% rostered still. Elic Ayomanor and Fitzy, I don't get this. I don't understand it. I think week 1 was slow. DBro had a good mention there, I think, last week, which was, hey, look at the snap count, look at how he's on the field and the usage and all of that stuff, even though it didn't return. But yesterday it did start to return. Against the Rams, 4 catches on 6 targets with a touchdown for 56. I feel like you can see that there is a rapport there building, and it's something I want to get on the ground floor. We're trying to get everybody to have him as cheap as possible. Why have people not picked him up? Is it just because he plays for the Titans? Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Yeah, and the appeal is that he is still a largely unknown commodity, at least in the NFL, and he could prove to be a terrific player, and he's widely available right now. Like, he only has one fewer target than Calvin Ridley through 2 games. And DBro, I was very much into Ayomanor.
Oh, that was one of your dudes during draft process.
Me too. Yeah, I've got him on all of my dynasty drafts. I have him with one of my last picks. I've had
I liked him more than Trey Harris and Jaden Higgins, the other big X types. Like, he's just a big, tough, physical receiver, blocks like a demon, really hard to tackle. Like, he has some Anquan Bolden to his game.
Ooh, that's a very high bar.
It is. I said some Anquan Bolden to his game, Joe. I
said he was a better version of Michael Wilson. So I'll split the difference here.
Anquan was a help for you kids out there who don't know who Anquan Bolden is. Go watch some YouTube videos.
Baby,
that guy was a beast. All right, so Ayomanor, DBro, anything you want to add here on this guy? Because it feels like, I'm not saying like he's going to be a difference maker, but bye weeks are around the corner, and Ayomanor's a guy that I want to have on my roster. Your thoughts? I know you've got him in a roster in one of the leagues we're in together.
He's my top wide receiver pickup of the week. And yes, this is even against Wan'Dale Robinson, because you're looking at not only the flex utility right now from the word go, but what can his role grow into as we move through the season? Like, we're talking about a rookie right now that is already breaking out. He's getting the target share. Week 1, he got a 25% target share. And I understand the Ridley shadow by Surtain. I get all that. Week 2, 18% target share. He turned the target share into actual production at 56 receiving yards and a score. And who is going to hop him for targets in that passing attack? It's not Chigakonkwo. It's not Tyler Lockett. It's not Van Jefferson. It's nobody else. And you look at the upcoming matchups, like Indy, very good this week. Like, he's flex worthy automatically this week. Houston, Arizona after that, a little bit tougher. But I'm talking like this guy should be 10 to 15% of your fab. If you need to go a little more aggressive, if you're hurting at wide receiver, I'm even higher than that. Like, that's fine. You know your league better than I do, but this is the guy I want to spend up for, because we've seen the Wan'Dale Robinson show. We've seen all these other guys, and we'll get to some other names here, but we've seen them produce, and we kind of know who they are. Elic's story is still to be written this season, and that ceiling and the floor is very, very intriguing.
The rest is still unwritten, a.k.a. the words of Derek Brown. Let's talk about Wan'Dale Robinson, who you just mentioned, DBro. 10 targets, 8 receptions last week. On the year, 14 of 18 for 197. Now, look, he exploded for 142 with a touchdown. And look, everybody exploded in that game. It was a wild contest there. And look, Wan'Dale in PPR leagues was a guy that I always thought had a lot of value at the end of drafts. So it was kind of surprising to see that he was still just 27% rostered on Sleeper, and he's still available. So what is your take and what's your spend on Wan'Dale this week?
A little bit less, like 7 to 10, 12%. I think he's more... Wan'Dale was a guy, like, if I'm playing in half PPR formats, I'm not that interested in, because the chances of him scoring a touchdown or having high yardage, and I know I'm talking about this after he had a career game, because just for everybody at home, that was the best career yardage performance Wan'Dale Robinson has ever had. Only his second time to ever surpass 100 receiving yards in his career in a single game. So I don't want to go chasing Haley's Comet here and expect that to produce every single week when we know that's probably not going to be the case, and the chances of him scoring any touchdowns is also not going to probably be the case. So in PPR formats where you need a guy that can be a flex play for you, get you 10 to 12 points in a week, if everything works out great, that's the I guess the territory that Wan'Dale Robinson should live in. Now, I don't know. I think also the name of Wan'Dale Robinson, and he's on the Giants, people are probably not going to go out there and have to spend a ton on him. And let's be honest here too. Like, for everything we talked about Daniel Jones, like, Joe, you and I talked about him a ton on the Sunday waiver wire, not the waiver wire, the live stream. And I said, dude, I don't even want to start Russ. And then he goes out here and he drops 450 on the Cowboys. And everybody's like, oh, really? How about those Russ takes? I'm like, okay, can we also all live in the world of week 1 where the entire Giants organization and everybody was like, is Russ even going to start any more games? We all lived in that reality too. And we've seen Russ over the last few years. If the moon balls don't hit, Russ looks cooked. They just happen to all hit against the Cowboys.
As we said before the show, not all the moon balls hit. Some went to the Cowboys.
Oh, yeah, one was a glorified punt. You're right about that.
I think the biggest lesson is the Cowboys secondary is not very good. So you want to target them every single week, because you can just dust those guys. And that's what we've seen. Your take on Wan'Dale Robinson, Fitzy, before we get to the next guy.
8.7 yards per catch for his career, 6.2 yards per target, 6 touchdowns in 40 career games. Like, I'm just, there's maybe some.
But he's also played with Tommy DeVito and all those
I know,
bozos
like,
last year. You know, like,
well,
how much do you want to take out of that?
Russell Wilson, this is not vintage Russell Wilson, and pretty soon it's going to be Jackson Dart, who's never started an NFL game. So I'm just not chasing this. You know, like next week it's going to be 5 for 37 yards. Like, it's low-level bye-week replacement value in full PPR leagues. That's it.
Yeah, of course, just in case you're wondering, yes, the long guys just showed up, of course, right during the show. So there you go. Perfect timing, long guys. Awesome. All right, let's go to another name on the list. And Pat, I can't wait to get your take on this one because, look, Jayden Reed has an injury. The rest of those guys are questionable at times. So Romeo Doubs, here we go, 23% rostered. Fitzy, give us the insider cheesehead take on Romeo Doubs for week 3.
Yeah, I mean, DBro and I talked about whether to include him in the waiver column. Like, he's not super exciting. I agree he is a minimum bid kind of guy, but maybe his usage does tick up a little bit while Jayden Reed misses a couple of months.
Would you rather buy low on Golden in a trade or make a run at Romeo Doubs for a couple bucks?
I don't know. I'm not buying low on Golden. Like, I don't know if he's good. And, you know, like, and Dontavian Wicks might actually, in deeper leagues, like Wicks, who absolutely just turned Marshawn Lattimore sideways last Thursday night, like, he might be worth $1 too in a deeper league.
Okay. DBro, give us your take on Romeo Doubs.
Dude, I wish the Green Bay Packers would just throw him the freaking ball. And I wish they'd throw the ball just in general, dude. It's like, Fitzy and I were talking about this for the waiver wire article, like, when do you feel comfortable playing any of these Packers? It's like you're playing the dice roll weekly, the roulette wheel of, it looks like on a weekly basis, we get enough Packers passing volume to support one guy. Who's that going to be this week? Who's scoring the touchdown? Who's getting the targets? Because all the rest of them are probably getting left out in the cold. I wish Romeo Doubs would get the target volume. I wish the Packers would throw the freaking ball more. I also wish Matt LaFleur wasn't so obsessed with a wide receiver by committee approach, because just with Jayden Reed going out, hello, Savion Williams, he's going to step into that Derry Bell Debo role. So it's not like all these other guys are going to pick up more routes in the process. So as good as I like Doubs, the talent, the player, I honestly think like he deserves more targets. All the per route metrics look fantastic, but a 17% target share on a team that had 22 passing attempts, 31 passing attempts. When do you feel comfortable ever putting that guy into your lineup? It's tough.
All right, let's see if I can get you excited about another wide receiver. How about Troy Franklin of the Denver Broncos? Troy Franklin, pretty good week. 8 of 9 for 89 and a touchdown the week before. 4 catches on 6 targets for 44. That means on the year, 12 of 15 for 133 with 1 touchdown. DBro, is there a rapport building here between Bo Nix and Troy Franklin that's carrying over from the college days, right? These are old pals, right? They used to hang out together, right? They used to, ride the bus home from school and, I don't know what else they were hanging out and doing. But let's talk about it, because Mims is a guy that I think a lot of people liked as a sleeper this year. Troy Franklin, though, seems to be a guy that might be a little bit more reliable, or are we taking too much out of 2 games?
I mean, look, Troy Franklin's not related to him like Tez Johnson, but still the rapport is there, dude. I mean, looking at Troy Franklin, and I know we've seen this before. I know we've been here before, people. Like, I'm old enough to remember last year when we saw Troy Franklin in a full-time role and then Sean Payton pulled the rug out from under us. But I'm willing to dive right back in because Franklin, again, going back to pre-draft takes, I really loved him. I had him ranked aggressively. The NFL said, But now we're seeing the talent maybe bubbling to the top. I mean, I think definitely 5 to 6% of your fab is definitely warranted for a second-year wide receiver that so far this season has earned a 21% target share. He's produced 2.3 yards per route run over the last 2 weeks. And in week 2, he led Denver in basically every single category: snaps, routes, targets, receptions, receiving yards, and he got into the end zone. So yes, we always talk about investing in talented second-year wide receivers. Troy Franklin could be that, and you might be able to do it for not a lot of your fab, considering everybody's going to say, but what if he goes back to being just a part-time player? That could definitely happen, but what if it doesn't?
Well, Pat, he's rostered in right now less than 10% of leagues, just 8% over on Sleeper. So Troy Franklin is available if you want him. Obviously, DBro laid out the possible pitfalls with Troy Franklin. What do you see when you look at him this week in terms of a waiver wire pickup?
Oh man, I'm just really the wet blanket on this show today, Joe. Like DBro actually makes a good case.
Could be the voice of reason. We'll see.
It's fine.
It could be. I mean,
cash. Look, I think last week too, Hollywood Brown was obviously the guy we talked about up top, but we talked quite a bit about the pitfalls and what it might look like and the issues that Mahomes might have. And I think a lot of that was kind of, justified when you came away from, week 2.
Yeah, I mean, DBro makes a good point about investing in talented second-year receivers. That's the best case here. The thing I worry about, are the targets going to be there when Evan Engram is fully healthy and playing more snaps? And you've also got Cortland Sutton, and they like to do some shot plays and screens with Marvin Mims. And in a Sean Payton offense, the backs are always going to get a lot of targets. So are there going to be enough targets to go around for Troy Franklin? I'm a little bit skeptical.
Fitzy is, of course, making sure everybody waiver wires responsibly. I think that's a very important thing. All right, let's take a look at one more guy here. Isaac TeSlaa, 24% rostered on the Detroit Lions. I bring him up because he's fun. He's got some talent. I guess I don't know where he fits or how he fits, barring an injury. But if you're a team, I think, that has Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jameson Williams, or one of those two guys, or both of those guys somehow in a draft, it feels like if one of those guys got hurt, TeSlaa might be able to step in and kind of produce. So, Fitzy, this is a deeper league thing, but ironically, he's rostered more than Franklin and some of the other guys, and Romeo Doubs, and we've talked about already today. So, I know there's just flashes, but is that enough to throw a couple bucks and stash him on a roster just in case? Or is it just not enough room potentially for him with target share the way things worked out or look right now for the Detroit Lions roster?
In a short bench league, I don't know if you can do it, especially for a guy who I think technically is still behind Khalif Raymond on the depth chart. But
technically, but not really.
Right.
I mean, not in terms of ability, I don't think, right?
Right. If anything happened to Jameson Williams, who do you think would be out there? I think that they would ramp up TeSlaa's role. So, I'm worth it. In some leagues, it's feasible. In some, it probably isn't. But if it is feasible, I don't mind dropping a couple bucks on him to, maybe have a lottery ticket on your hands.
I like guys who just have capital letters in the middle of their name too, DBro. At the end of the day,
just randomly.
That's just fun. But I mean, look, I know it's a couple good catches. You're like, oh, look at that catch, look at that catch. But those moments where you get to perform and you do, I think those stand out for coaches. So I know the playing time path is tough, but it's a long season, DBro. Do you have any? Yeah. Is this just a scout team guy at this point for you, or is it a guy in a deeper league you want to have?
In a deeper league, I'm not against throwing a dollar or two at him, but it does have to be a deeper league or a league where I have the bench space to sit there and absorb that, because even the bull case, he needs injuries. Say he even hops Khalif and he's the starter for the Lions. Everybody stays healthy. What does that make him? Probably the 5th option in the passing attack. You have J-Mo, Amon-Ra, Laporta, and probably Gibbs above him. So you would need him to become the starter and some injuries along the way, which I'm not saying can't happen, and he's not worth a roster spot, but it takes a deep bench and probably a deep league for me to do it.
All right, let's talk about guys you're going to drop. Let's talk about Calvin Austin. Did something week 1, didn't do much week 2. Is he a drop, DBro?
Drop. Fool's gold. Never believed in it.
Same for you there, Fitzy?
Yep.
Okay, both dropping him. All right, let's talk about Jayden Reed. Let's say you're in a league that doesn't have IR spots. Fitzy, would you drop Jayden Reed?
I think you have to. I mean, they're saying 6 to 8 weeks for him with a broken collarbone. I think the 6 is pretty optimistic. Yeah. So, yeah, I think you might be forced to drop Jayden Reed.
DBro, from your hand gestures, I'm saying you agree.
Yeah, dude. I mean, if it's not the collarbone that we're worried about, he still has the Jones fracture that he's dealing with, too.
Yeah,
so
good point.
Either way, not healthy.
Either way, not healthy. Okay, let's take a look at some of the streamers at QB, tight end, and the defense and the kicker side of things. And Fitzy, let's start with you. Give me a streaming quarterback for week 3. Who do you like?
Geno Smith. Looked terrific. We haven't seen him play in week 2 as of this recording, but he looked fantastic against New England on the road in week 1. He's going on the road again, traveling east to face the Commanders, who didn't hold up very well in the secondary against the ensemble cast of Green Bay Packers receivers that DBro was talking about earlier. So Geno, week 3 in Washington.
Well, don't worry, Fitzy. If he doesn't play well tonight, or if he gets hurt tonight. I'm sure everyone won't drag you in the YouTube comments for saying Geno Smith, because obviously everything has to happen in real time for everyone's life now. Everything has to. What were you like? Yeah, in the middle of the night, we were recording the Waiver Wire pod. No, we do it Monday morning. We get out in front of everything. That's what we do. Aaron Rodgers is the guy for you against the New England Patriots. Talk to me, DBro, about this one. I would take Jake Browning over him, but that's just me.
I know. Look, and I knew you were going to hate this.
I'm mad. I'm mad that Jake Browning wasn't either of your guys here. I'm pissed off about it. No Jake Browning love. I just gave you all those stats, all those QB1 finishes. They mean nothing to you. Nothing.
I mean, have you seen your Patriots pass defense?
Have you seen Aaron Rodgers at this stage in his career? Don't give me the Jets game. That's the one thing he wanted to get up for was the Jets. He wanted to stick it to the Jets, and now that's done. And now so is he.
What I have seen, Joey, is I saw Geno drop 362 and 10.6 yards per attempt against the Patriots in week 1. And then I saw Tua, who we just talked about and we weren't giving kind words to, drop 315 and 9.8 yards per attempt against the Patriots in week 2. So I've yet to see the Patriots play pass defense.
Can I make a caveat on the drop and the amount of yards after catch from Devon Achane that padded those stats? Tua played like crap. Okay? Don't think Tua played well. So just I want to caveat that. That's a box score lie, boys and girls. Don't listen to that man with the beard.
Christian Gonzalez is not healthy. Carlton Davis looks like he's lost right now, and they have no pass rush.
That's fair. That's good process. All right, let's talk about the tight ends here. DBro, you're going back again to the New Orleans Saints. Well, and Juwan Johnson, it seems.
Dude, he might. I mean, looking at him, it was him versus. I could always make you a really good case that he could have been the waiver wire pickup of the week, just considering what he's done so far in the season. I mean, 23% target share week 1, 26.4% target share on week 2. He continues to produce. I know the talent, like he's not some top shelf talent, but in this New Orleans Saints offense, we know that they're not a good team. They're going to be trailing, and it's him and Chris Olave leading the way for this passing attack. Like, he needs to be picked up in leagues. And the fact that we can still even talk about him in the streaming portion of this show is kind of a travesty.
Fitzy, I know you had feelings about Juwan, so I want to give you an opportunity to talk about those.
Go ahead, Mr. Wet Blanket, stepping in. Go ahead, Fitz.
Who knows? Maybe it becomes a warm blanket. Who knows? Let's see.
So, I've been trying to wrap my head around the Juwan Johnson surge. Like, this is his 6th season. His best season to this point was in 2022 when he had 42 catches for 508 yards and 7 touchdowns. He was tight end 11 that year, but only tight end 18 in fantasy points per game, so kind of a fantasy spot starter at best. Juwan Johnson had a 13.2% target share that year. At the moment, he's at 26.7%, basically double his target share from his best season. And I was thinking about this while I was trying to fall asleep last night. Like, how did Juwan Johnson not really work with Derek Carr or the Andy Dalton, Jameis Winston combo in 2022, but he's working splendidly with Spencer Rattler?
I know, because Derek Carr could throw the ball downfield, A, and make reads downfield, B, and Taysom Hill, anytime they got into any sort of interesting scoring stuff where fantasy points were available for him, once they got in the red zone, it was all the gimmicky Taysom Hill nonsense over the last couple of years. And I think that was a big part of why Juwan Johnson, like, you can't look at the track record and compare it to now. I'm not saying now is the truth, but I think the funniest takeaway here for sure is definitely Fitzy is that meme that you see where the woman is laying in bed and saying, "What's this? What is he thinking about?" And he's wondering, there's a picture of Fitzy laying in the bed. Yeah. I hope that the art department will make up this meme and put it on the production. Please, if you're listening, production team, I want the Fitzy face in the bed saying these words. I just don't understand the 26% target share for Juwan Jennings. That's what Fitzy was thinking about.
Or the Wolverine meme. Well, the Wolverine meme where he's staring at the picture of Fitzy. Fitzy's staring there, staring at Juwan Johnson.
It's Juwan Johnson.
I'm sure, like, my wife is hoping the things keeping me up at night are like worrying about our kids off at college and stuff like that. But no, it's Juwan Johnson. But like, what if these veteran quarterbacks just knew that throwing to Juwan Johnson was a negative EV proposition and that not much good could come from it? And Spencer Rattler just hasn't figured that out yet. Like, I know that Juwan Johnson is going to be ranked ahead of Mark Andrews in ECR this week. I guarantee it. Mark Andrews has two catches for 8 yards, would have had a touchdown yesterday, but let Grant Delpit punch the ball out of his arm. I shouldn't say let. It was a really good play by Delpit, but I know a lot of...
Because
I know
you're thinking
a lot
that
of
Spencer Rattler can figure this out. Like that's what
Fitz, I'm loving it.
that's
I'm
true.
just gonna love Rattler's ignorance. Then
I am still going to have Mark Andrews ranked ahead of Juwan Johnson this week. I still think Andrews is the better player, and we know he is in by far the better offense. But I just know that a lot of people who have Mark Andrews are going to replace him with Juwan Johnson this week on waivers, and I think it's a mistake.
I want everybody to know Fitzy was waiting in the weeds the entire show to take this opportunity to talk about Juwan Johnson. He's been waiting the whole time. All right, let's talk about your streaming tight end.
Harold Fannin, who might actually be really good. Tough matchup against the Packers this week, but the one thing the Packers have done is give up some numbers, if sort of inconsequential numbers, to tight ends. Sam Laporta in week 1 and Zach Ertz in week 2. So maybe Fannin gets some, cheap completions and has a decent PPR game.
All right, Fitzy, give me a streaming defense for week 3.
Targeting Spencer Rattler has not really worked out yet for opposing defenses, but I think it will for the Seattle Seahawks hosting the Saints this week. Mike McDonald's offense was really good. We saw some of that against Pittsburgh on Sunday. So Seattle versus the Saints.
Okay, DBro, I like your selection here. They look pretty good the first 2 weeks of the season. Give me your streaming defense.
yeah, Falcons put it on the Vikings last night. And I think they can do it to the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young, we're still wondering, did he turn back into a pumpkin? I don't think he looked great against the Cardinals. So let's go with the Falcons defense this week.
But I think Atlanta kind of also held the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in check and Bucky Irving in check.
Yeah.
I think we got to start giving the Falcons some credit. They went all in on the defensive side of the football this offseason, and I think it might be paying off finally. And also Bryce Young, I saw this stat yesterday, blew my mind. I'm going to talk about this on Out of Bounds. The worst winning percentage of any quarterback taken 1 overall in the modern day era of NFL. Just putting that out there.
Oh,
pretty brutal. 19% winning percentage. 19%.
That's not good.
All right, streaming kicker for the week, DBro. Who do you have?
I haven't given enough Packers love on this show yet, so I will atone, Fitzy. I will atone. Brandon McManus, come on down.
It feels weird that he's a Packer. I don't know. I can never get used to it.
I keep thinking Broncos.
I
just keep thinking Broncos.
It's gross. It feels weird. It's like when Vinatieri wasn't a Patriot anymore. Just odd. All right, Fitzy, who do you have a kicker?
All right, Matt Prater, who's only keeping the seat warm for the injured Tyler Bass, but the Bills have scored 71 points in their first 2 games. And Prater is getting a ton of scoring opportunities, only 12% rostered in Yahoo leagues.
All right, don't
Did
miss out.
Did y'all see the video, by the way, about Prater
What's
when
that?
he came into the building? They thought the Buffalo Bills, all of his teammates, thought that they had hired another coach because he's so old.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, they called him, "What's up, coach?" They had no idea who.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, we got another coach in here. Hey, coach, what's up?" Poor dude.
All right,
Poor dude.
Make sure you don't miss out on snagging potential waiver wire difference makers, just like some of these names here we've just been talking about. Use Waiver Wire Central at fantasypros.com/myplaybook, or of course the Fantasy Pros app, and you can instantly look at all the suggestions on who you should pick up and who you should drop. Use Waiver Central. Don't be a tool. Use the tools. All right, next up here, the waiver wire ads of the week for those of you ranking them, trying to do old school waivers, no fab budgets. So, DBro, give me your top 5 in order.
I'm going to go with Daniel Jones at number 1. I'm actually going to switch the order up here a little bit, Joey. Elic Ayomanor is number 2 for me. Juwan Johnson is 3. Harold Fannin is 4. And Wan'Dale Robinson is 5.
A late minute switch from
I
Derek Brown.
I talked about Elic a lot on this show, so we need to go into the upside, man.
All right, Fitzy, give me your top 5 waiver claims for week 3.
Joe, the shelves are just so bare this week. Like it is. I mean, it's worse than bare shelves. It's like the zombie show where the survivors come across a grocery store. So of course they have to go in and look for food, but the shelves are always empty, and there's usually at least one zombie who comes out of some hiding place to attack. So not only are you not getting any groceries on waivers this week, but your lineup might get infected by some zombie you spend fab money on and put in your lineup. So
this is such a good comparison. I love this so much.
All right, my top 5: Elic Ayomanor, number 1; Harold Fannin, number 2. I guess I'll capitulate on Juwan Johnson and put him at number 3. Like I've got Daniel Jones at number 4, but I could make a case that Matthew Stafford is a better pickup. So I'll put Jones at 4 and Stafford at 5.
Still no Jake Browning love. Look at that. 10 spots. Not one for Jake Browning. But there you have it, everybody. That's the waiver wire for the week. Don't forget, if you need more help, I talked about using the tools. We also have the waiver wire live stream, 3 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday. Myself, Derek Brown, will be there to answer your questions. We'll be breaking down those Monday Night Football games, plural, too, as well. So ring the bell till it goes ding so you don't miss a piece of content on the channel here. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Drop your comments below. Who's your favorite waiver wire ad of the week and why? That's your assignment, because it might win you our latest Trophy Smack giveaway. So make sure you get in on that noise right now, because we are giving away the NFLPA Wall Smack, courtesy of our friends at Trophy Smack. So do all those things and you might be entered to win this week's amazing giveaway. And of course, go to fantasypros.com for more waiver wire articles, rankings, and all of that and more. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Derek Brown and Pat Fitzmaurice, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids. Avoid that zombie apocalypse.